Good evening, everyone on the line. Could you just type in the chat box if you can hear me? Perfect. Thank you. So thank you to everyone who's on the line this evening to learn a bit more about GM or General Motors. We have several of their team members on the line to present to you guys about the opportunities that exist at General Motors. We have Michael Selhop, who is a senior finance analyst. We have Stephanie Theju, a finance analyst, and Felix Martinez, also a finance analyst on the line. So just a bit of housekeeping. Hold your questions until the end. You'll be able to type them into the chat box, and I will moderate the Q&A. And then if you could just make sure that your microphone is muted, that would be great. Thank you, and I will turn it over to the General Motors team.
Thank you, Aaron. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on our General Motors Intern Information Session. I want to start off by thanking our SEO hosts, Aaron and Mindy, for putting this webinar together. And I want to get an opportunity to introduce myself and the team. As Aaron mentioned, my name is Michael Sheltup, and I'm a senior finance analyst here at GM. And I'm part of the track program in my third rotation right now. And I'm joined by Stephanie and Felix, who will briefly introduce themselves as well.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie Theju, and I am currently my second year in the track program as well. I am in the Global Purchasing and Supply Chain Financial Planning and Analysis group.
Hey guys, this is Felix. I'm a third-year track analyst, and my current rotation is in strategic pricing.
Thank you, Felix and Stephanie. Also part of our team is Shannon Jones and Alex DaCosta, who helped put this presentation together. And all of our contact information will be at the end of the presentation in case you want to reach out and learn more about General Motors. Today, we also have a special guest with us, Nicolas Moreno. He is a current intern here at General Motors and also an SEO alum. And he will be talking about his experience later in this presentation. So with that, I want to start off talking about some of the extraordinary opportunities that we offer here at General Motors. As today is a very special time in the auto industry where General Motors is truly leading and redefining the future of transportation. We're currently moving towards a strategy that is defining our future. And before I move into that strategy, I want to talk a little bit about some of the statistics. Starting off with the first one, I think this is a very impactful metric because it involves people. Every year, about 1.25 million people die in traffic accidents. Looking at our environment, about 20% of U.S. carbon emissions comes from cars and trucks. And when we talk about the economics of all of this, millions of Americans spend millions of hours of time in traffic and spend millions of dollars in fuel expense. As you can see there, it's about $300 billion in our economy. So looking at this, GM has moved towards a new strategy, which is zero crashes, zero emissions, and zero congestion. So when we talk about zero crashes, currently General Motors puts great effort in protecting our passengers during and after a crash. However, we're moving towards a future where we want to prevent accidents from happening altogether. We also view a world with zero emissions. Even as we continue to improve internal combustion engines and we keep improving our fuel efficiency, we are marching towards a zero emissions future with all electric vehicles and fuel cell vehicles. And finally, we view a world with zero congestion where we can travel safely and smoothly to our destinations, saving time, fuel, and money. So in order for us to achieve this strategy, For us to achieve this strategy, we need to find the best minds and top talent in the industry. And we believe that the newest generation of thinkers, doers, and innovators will help us get there. And that's why we're reaching out to all of you young talent that's studying right now to get a business degree. So as you may know, General Motors is a very large company. We employ over 180,000 people. across 5 continents, 23 time zones, and we speak 70 different languages. We've been trying to hire new talent, and a testament of this is that 40% of our salaried employees have been hired in the last 5 years. And we believe that young people are bold, they will keep the customer at the center of everything they do, and they will be encouraged to innovate in every aspect of their jobs. Being a big company also makes us a very diverse company. Women comprise about 45% of our board of directors, making us a leader among Fortune 100 companies in board diversity. Right now, fresh off the press, we've just announced that our new CFO is Divya Surdivaya, which makes us the second company in the Fortune 500 to have a female CEO and a female CFO. We're also the first and only automaker to become part of the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce. And in 2016, we recruited 5.1% of our employees were veterans, and 35% came from minorities. So as a company, we care greatly about our employees, but we also care greatly about our communities and the places we live and work. In 2017, over 18,000 GM employees gave about over 160,000 hours of community service. GM also has a yearly program called GM Cares Week, where over 5,000 employees participated in a diversity of projects, either developing communities, urban gardening, assembling disaster relief care packages, packaging food, you name it. It was a week of taking care of our community. In 2017, also, GM employees donated over 7,000 units of blood, which helped impacting about 21,000 lives across the world. Apart from our employees and our community, we also care about our environment, and we've integrated sustainability into our business strategy and core operations. We believe that a sustainable mindset and focus on environmental, social, and governance issues will help drive long-term value for the company. Today, our vehicle manufacturing process has one of the lowest environmental footprints in history. We expect our footprint to continue to decrease towards our goal of using 100% renewable energy by 2050. By the end of this year, we already expect to be 20% of the way there. So this is how we view the company from within, but from a consumer perspective, what customers can relate the most with GM is our brands. So starting with the vehicles that we sell in the US, our brands are Chevy, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac. However, we also have some other brands outside of the US. We have Holden in Australia, Baojun, Wuling, and Jiefang in China. And in 2017, we delivered nearly 9 million vehicles around the world. As I mentioned previously, we have a vision for a better future with zero crashes, zero emissions, and zero congestion. And to get there, we're obviously still building the cars that you see today, but we're also planning to get to our strategy. And for that, we're investing in different areas of the business, like ride sharing, electrification, autonomous, and connectivity. And we'll walk through each one of these momentarily. So starting with the autonomous space, as some of you may know, GM a couple years ago invested in Cruise Automation, and this company is helping us achieve our autonomous goals. This year, also SoftBank, one of the largest tech investors in the world, invested another $2.25 million in the company. And you can see here some of the headlines that GM has had with the progress that we've done in the autonomous space. You can see that we've been testing vehicles in San Francisco, and you can see there an image of our autonomous car with no steering wheel. And that's the future that we're marching towards. As I mentioned, we believe in an electrified future, and we are marching to a pure electric portfolio with both battery electric vehicles and fuel cell vehicles. The battery electric vehicle is very important to our strategy because it's also a lot easier to integrate into our autonomous strategy. And this will help us achieve our goal of 0 crashes, 0 emissions, and 0 congestion. So for us to achieve our mobility goals, we need a mobility platform to ride on top of. And because of this, we've developed Maven, which is our personal mobility app that will provide hassle-free, on-demand vehicle access for travel to work and everyday life. Other companies have been talking about a mobility solution as ours, but nobody has established a brand like we've done with Maven. Underlying all these innovations for self-driving cars, electrification, and shared mobility is a powerful technological infrastructure. We've been leveraging one of our brands, which is OnStar. It's been on the market for over 20 plus years, and we have over 14 million connected vehicles on the road today. This connectivity allows our customers to interact with their vehicles seamlessly, either that being starting your car or unlocking your car through an app on your phone. You have mobile apps integrated into the head unit today, and we've established partnerships with other tech companies like Amazon, which now allows you to deliver packages straight to your car. So this presentation is setting the stage on where GM is and where GM is going, and I feel like this quote from Mary Barra really takes this home, where she says that the auto industry is changing more now than it has in the past 50 years. And with that, I want to move on to some of the great opportunities that we have to offer, and Felix will talk more about that.
Hey guys, this is Felix. Just like Michael mentioned, there's a big focus in GM of attracting the best talent that we can, the best minds, young people like you, to come and innovate the industry and help us revolutionize the way we move around and the transportation services as well. So, next slide, Mike.
Yeah.
Next one. So to start, I wanted to talk about a little bit of how the internship works at General Motors. And sorry, bear with us, we're having a little bit of slight trouble over here.
One second.
Okay, awesome. So this is the part that is probably more interesting to you guys when it comes to a future opportunity here at General Motors. When it comes to the internship program, we have a program called Excel, Exploring Careers Through Experimental Learning. And from what I've talked to other peers and people outside in other companies, GM really offers one of the top internship programs out there, not only in the operational side, which is engineering, material, supply chain, and the material side, logistics, but also in the business and finance area as well. So just a couple highlights about the Excel program. It's a really competitive program. We recruit the best talent at all the schools. We also bring a lot of diversity. We have had a lot of success with SEO already, and we would like to leverage the connections that we have. Stephanie and Nicholas were part of SEO, and they are examples of the top talent that we're trying to recruit here at General Motors, and that we would like to bring with you guys as a new generation starting next year. So just to give you a quick background on myself, I was also an SEO intern back in 2015. I interned with the Operational Excellence Finance team, which is in charge of improving the business. What we did as an OPEX finance team, we looked a lot at the things that drive a company like General Motors: manufacturing, logistics, materials, and we tried to work with consultants to identify opportunities to reduce waste and create new efficiencies. Some of the main projects that I have as an intern I did a KPI analysis that went all the way to the CFO, Chuck Stevens. We looked at some software license tax. So interesting part about this project was that we have a specific manufacturing facility here in Detroit that sits in the limit of two cities. And depending on where you have your IT hardware, you have to pay more tax. So one of the things that we did for this project was to look into the tax laws of the two different cities and basically move our computers from one city to the other to reduce our tax liability. Another interesting project was putting dollars to all the initiatives and efficiencies that we were finding. At that time in 2015, we had identified close to $3 billion worth of internal efficiencies. So I did a lot of work trying to estimate these benefits and also helping all the consultants and the people that were driving all these improvements actually realize those dollars. Other activities that you do as an intern in General Motors, and this is why this program is so good, is because it allows you to do things outside your function. For example, I participated in a crash test tour where we went to a facility just to look at how engineers smash the cars against a concrete wall, and then look at all the readings in the back end of a computer, and they're able to identify how that type of crash will hurt a person, if it can kill a person, or if not, where they will be injured. So that was really interesting stuff that if you go to some other places, you won't be able to see, because when you were in finance, you stick to the finance, and GM gives you those endless opportunities to learn about the company and learn about other things that you could do in this great organization. Another interesting part and ties back to the electric and autonomous future that Mike talked about was the battery lab. We went as a group toward the battery lab, how GM develops and tests all the batteries that goes into the vehicles, and it's actually a very complex process to develop a battery that goes into a vehicle. Some of the more fun things I did as an intern: we went to the Tigers and Lions game. We had a case competition where we were put into groups and competed against other interns to try to come up with a solution for a specific business problem that the organization is facing at that time. And we also had a networking in a yacht where you get to network with some of the top leadership at GM, which was very, very interesting to hear from their experience what they think about the program and how much they support all the efforts that we do to bring and retain the top talent that we can. So things like this make this program unique, make it very interesting. It was an unforgettable experience. All the new friends, all the things that I learned when I was here for less than 3 months, it really changed the way I approach my career going forward. And I've created relationships that I still leverage now when I go do any project in my current position. So we'll go to the next slide, and I'll let Nicholas give us a little bit of his background as an intern this summer.
All right, thank you, Felix. So, as you guys can see, my name is Nick Moreno. I'm an economics major at the University of Florida, and I'm currently interning in PPCO, which stands for Product Program Cost Optimization, and we're under the Global Purchasing and Supply Chain. So basically what we do is we have two functions. The first one is trying to estimate costs for the components for future vehicles. So anything from nuts and bolts to more complex components such as engines and sensors, cameras, you name it. So we try to estimate the cost for future vehicles, and we also try to maintain the cost books. So once in the vehicle development process, when we set some targets in terms of cost for the vehicle, we try to manage the whole cost book throughout the life of the program and try to stay as in line as possible with the targets we set before. So a little bit about I'd like to talk a little bit about my current project. So right now I'm trying to look at different cost initiatives we could try to do across programs. So trying to see what kind of components can we use in multiple programs and trying to look for cost optimization opportunities. So it's really interesting to see the what GM is doing currently and what it's going to do in the future. So as you can see, this position is really you get a really close vision of the products we have. But for my internship experience, I also wanted to see a high level vision of the company as a whole, right? So something that surprised me, it was the mobility that you have in GM. I was able to talk to my manager, and he really supported and encouraged me to do it. And he made 2 phone calls, and it was surprisingly, next week I was job shadowing the FX and commodities team, which was a great experience. I learned about GM's exposure to foreign exchange to different commodities and their hedging strategies. I even helped them in a little project, so it was it was really it was really surprising to see how open they were and how welcoming. So something kind of like a highlight of my experience or of this experience is that I like to picture it as GM. As soon as you get accepted into the program, GM opens all the doors for you to explore, and that combined with all the tools that SEO gives you to try to navigate the corporate environment really allow you to make your internship experience and get what you want out of it. So that's kind of like the unstructured part of the program, which I really enjoyed. Something I like about something I like about my team is pretty much having that responsibility of or that that responsibility or that responsibility of trying to target GM's largest cost, which is material cost, and that is something really fulfilling. Um, so I would also like to talk a little bit about the structured part of the program, some of the events that we're part of as we're participating in the program. So as Felix mentioned a little bit, the Tigers game, that's a really good opportunity for you to network with your peers, with your finance intern peers, to get to know them on a more personal level in a more relaxed setting, and that really helps you. Something which is the picture on the left, that's the yacht cruise, where you're pretty much with a lot of executives. I think that's one of the highlights of my experience. I got to meet John Stapleton, which is for you guys who don't know him, he's the CFO for GM North America, and that just being able to have a conversation for 30 minutes with him was a really good experience. I really learned a lot. So the next event, which is the picture on the right, is the case competition. Again, as Felix mentioned, is a current GM challenge that they face. So you're actually giving value to General Motors, and that as an intern is really a great opportunity. It's not one of those cases where you just read and pretty much have a straightforward solution, but you really have to be creative, have to be resourceful, and think outside the box to solve it. I would like to mention that the winners for the case competition usually, or yeah, not usually, every time get to have dinner, lunch with Mary Barra and the CFO. So this summer was something special because we're transitioning CFO, as was mentioned previously, and the interns got to have lunch not only with Mary Barra, but also with Chuck Stevens, the current CFO, and Divya, the incoming CFO, which was an awesome experience. So with that, I would like to pass it on to Felix to provide some background on the intern support system.
Okay, so as you guys heard from Nico's experience, going back to what makes this program really special is that we try to give the interns a meaningful project, something that they can walk away not only knowing that they helped the organization, that they improve added value, but also develop some new skills that they can take with them wherever they go. And that's very important. An example, touching here on Stephanie a little bit, and with her on her internship experience, she developed a tool when she was an intern that we're currently using in strategic pricing to look at historical transaction prices and try to use that data to develop new pricing for vehicles. So again, you're going to work on a project that is going to impact the business and that is going to be used long after you're gone the company as an intern. And when you come back, you may even have the opportunity to see your tool or work again with your tool, which is pretty cool. Another great thing about the Excel program and the internship at GM is that we have a really strong support system. So the logic behind this is to make you feel welcome and part of the team from the first day that you arrive at General Motors. So as an intern, you get a peer mentor, which is usually a track analyst that will help you navigate the organization a little bit, that will help you develop some of the contacts and some of the networking skills that you may not have or you may need to just brush up on a little bit. You're also going to get an executive advisor. So usually some director will be with you during the whole summer, advising you, giving you tips on how to improve, giving you feedback on how you're doing, what your performance is, and being very transparent with all the things that are going on, and also introducing you to other directors or other groups so that you can get a broader experience of General Motors as a whole. And then also obviously your manager for that assignment during those 3 months or 10 weeks that you're here, your manager will be a key person during your summer. And we try to make sure that you have a great experience, and your manager will go above and beyond to make sure that you enjoy your summer, you work in something meaningful, and then you walk away from GM that summer feeling great, knowing that you added value, knowing that you learned a lot. Mike, can you go to the next slide, please? So some of the opportunities after the Excel program, when you come back to GM, are the developmental track, which is the program in which Mike, Stephanie, and myself are part of. Consists of 3 one-year rotations, and they're really good. You really learn a lot as a track analyst. You get a lot of exposure to leadership, a lot of exposure to meaningful roles, and it allows you to develop a good network that's going to help you in your career at General Motors the whole time you're here. Some of the cool things about the track program is the engagement that leadership has in the program and how invested everyone from the CFO down in recruiting the best talent and making sure that everyone that we bring in the organization develops into a future leader. We want to make sure that we retain the best talent and we develop that talent to be the best that they can. And the whole leadership organization is really invested in making sure that everyone that comes to GM is successful. And they have done a really good job at it. The next step after the track program is to become a manager, obviously, and we have a support system for that. It's called the Finance Manager Potential, and this is something similar to the track program. And all the individuals that are considered potential future leaders, they may need a little bit more development, go through this program. They get rotations are not as structured as the track program where you rotate every year. The time changes a little bit, but you also get great assignments. You also get great exposure to leadership, and the whole finance organization is really behind this program, making sure we develop the next generation of leaders. So it's a very, very good program to develop yourself as a future leader. Mike, the next slide, please. And for the last piece, I just want to share some of the opportunities that we have in General Motors, some of the groups that you can come in and have an impact. We have the Global Product Development. This is the organization that engineers or basically designs our vehicles. our portfolio, where we're gonna go to, what kind of vehicles we're gonna produce, how we're gonna manage our capital. We also have the global purchasing and supply chain. This is the organization that handles all the material costs, negotiates the contracts with suppliers, handles logistics, reduce supplier risk to avoid any disruptions in the manufacturing process. We also have the global manufacturing group, which is the group that actually builds the vehicle. So you deal a lot with operations here. You get to see every single function of GM come into one in the manufacturing group. Is really interesting. And to add a little bit of more excitement to it, you also have to deal with all the labor at the plant, all the people building the vehicle. So it's very, very, very good experience to be part of that manufacturing group. We also have the seller side when we have the sales and service and marketing team. These are the people that handle all of our incentives or pricing, all of the go-to-market strategies. Then we also have the global connected consumer GCCX, and these are sort of like our new innovative ideas where we have Maven, where we have OnStart. We try to generate revenue from different subscriptions or different business models that we are creating, that we have in the pipeline. Then we also have the customer care and after sales TCA, which is one of the most profitable groups in General Motors. And here's where we handle all the parts that you will need if your car breaks down. If you buy a car and 10 years from now needs a new water pump or a new radiator, the CCA organization will provide that. And it's actually a very, very profitable business for General Motors. Next slide. And then we also have the staff functions, which include treasury, some of the corporate staff, and some other support staff, which are the FP&A, investor relations, M&A. So just so that you can see, General Motors has a broad organization. You have endless opportunities here. You can be in any of these groups and have an impact on the business. Every group that I just touched on is important for the business. We cannot do something without having all these functions working together. So as an intern, you will get the opportunity to work in any of these groups. And that makes this internship opportunity very valuable and an unforgettable experience. So the interview process, and we got a lot of questions about this last year when we did our recruiting. So here's what the process looks like. We start off with a webinar to let you guys know about the company, about the opportunities, let you guys familiarize a little bit with General Motors. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. We will provide our contact information, or you can reach out to SEO. We will then get some resumes from you guys that are interested from the SEO. We will screen you guys, have a little conversation over the phone. Then we'll move the candidates to make it through the pre-screen. We'll take them further towards the next step where we prepare them for a case. So as part of the interview process, all of our interns will take a business case. So we'll prepare you guys for that. Then after that, you guys will have 2 Skype or phone interviews, where we test some of the technicals and behavioral skills that you guys have. Then after that, if you move on to the next round, will be the business case. And then we are pretty good at communicating offers. So you will probably find out if you will get an offer for next summer to become an intern at General Motors within 3-4 days after completing your case. So we don't want to let you guys hang in. We want to make sure that you guys know where you stand, and that if you're going to be joining us, we want to make sure you guys know right away so you guys can start preparing, and we can always start reaching out to you, making sure that we provide all the support that you guys need to come to General Motors the next summer. And with that, we want to talk a little bit about Detroit and the great place it is. So for those of you that don't know it, Detroit is a really awesome place, and Stephanie is going to share some of that with us.
Hello guys, Stephanie here again. So for those that do not know, the headquarters of General Motors are based in Detroit, Michigan. So I'm just going to go really quickly. So if Detroit's a great place, and coming from Florida, you hear all this bad reputation about the city and its history and all these things. But actually living here, it's been a totally different experience than what you hear in the news, what you see on TV. So if you're into sports, you have the all four professional teams here: hockey, basketball, football, and baseball. There's a lot of art and entertainment. Shakira was here last week. I mean, all kinds of people come here. If you're into nightlife, there's a huge craft beer scene here. So that's something that is also, really cool about Detroit. Restaurants, trust me, I come from Florida, from Miami specifically, where I thought that was a very diverse city. But coming to Detroit showed me what diversity really looks like. You literally see everything from Greek food, Chinese food, Middle Eastern food, Latin food, Polish food, Italian food. There's so many varieties here, and if you're a foodie, this is definitely a place to be. Also museums, you have the Detroit Institute of Art, Motown, and the Detroit Historical Museum. It's really cool places to go on a Saturday afternoon or Sunday, or during the winter when it's cold. So it's a good place to live. Next slide. And if you're into outdoor activities, we are surrounded by Fort Lakes. So there's a lot of outdoor activities. If you're into water sports, if you're into skiing, like I said, it's a vibrant city. You have all kinds of activities here. All this different cultures bring something different to the city, and it's a pretty interesting place to be right now. Next slide. So this is something that you will hear if you come to spend your summer here in Detroit is this thing with the hand, which looks like a hand. If you put your left hand side, your left hand up, you can see that it looks like Detroit. I mean, like Michigan. So that's what people will show you to show you where they live. You can see the lakes. There's a lot of lakes here. And it's a really cool place to live and to spend the summer. Even during the winter, it's pretty cool to see, go skiing and seeing the snow. For me, it was my first time seeing snow, so it was a completely different experience. So next one. This is a video about Detroit.
One sec.
Some people only see the darkness and decay that lies ahead, while others will see the shining light of opportunities.
We'll give it a second go. Sorry, everyone.
Some people only see the darkness and decay that lies ahead, while others will see the shining light of opportunities.
The city of Detroit was the birthplace of the automobile, the highway, and the shopping mall.
Detroit's decline was more than 50 years in the making. The decline of the auto industry, a mass exodus, bad management, and bad luck.
We've lost 1.5 million people in the last 50 years.
We've had our struggles, but we don't let them define us. If this is all you've seen, you haven't seen anything yet.
It took us 60 years to be back, but we're now in the middle of the greatest turnaround in urban history.
So many tech companies are coming over. Are we the Silicon Valley of the Midwest? No. We are the Detroit of Detroit.
A town known for resilience and toughness. With 22 championships to prove it.
You can go to New York or San Francisco and get lost in the shuffle. Here, you can truly make a difference.
And so this is how do you apply. So if you log into Blackboard and module number 2, you will see the partner interest survey. So that's where you will select corporate finance and then show your interest for GM. And or you can send your resume to Aaron as well, and that's his email address. And you also have our contact information, so you can just shoot us an email, and then if you want to talk to us, we can set up a call, or if you have any questions regarding the process or anything else regarding GM or Michigan, or just any questions you have, don't be shy and just send us an email. And with that,
we'll open it up to any questions.
Yeah, we'll open it up to any questions you guys have. Send them in the chat, and then Aaron will read them for us.
Feel free to ask me questions as Nick, the intern. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you to the GM team. That was a great video. Thank you for presenting the opportunities to the students. For the students on the line, if you do have questions for the GM team, you can just type them into the chat box. I will moderate the questions for them. And let's see, do we have any questions coming in? Let's see. So anyone on the line have any questions about GM, about the opportunity? This is your time to ask the questions. Obviously, you're interested in the opportunity, so if you have any reservations, here's the time to ask any questions that you may have while you have SEO alum on the line, as well as some folks who've been at the company for a while. Okay, so the first question I have for the team is what types of technical skills does GM look for during the interview process? So are there any specific topics that the students should focus on as they prepare?
So Aaron, this is Felix, and that's a great question. We are not looking for you guys to be experts on finance or anything like that. We understand you guys are in school, are still studying, are still improving your skills. Some of the skills that I think are very important and that GM looks for in a candidate, first of all, we want people that can think outside the box, people that will step up to the challenge, people that will bring new ideas to the table and are not afraid to communicate them. Obviously, for the finance group, we want to make sure you guys know a little bit of Excel, not an expert, but can hold your own on Excel. It's very important. We also need to make sure that you guys understand the financial concepts and have a good business acumen as well. Mike, Stephanie, if I'm missing something.
I will add to that. From a finance perspective, some of the basic things that we will be looking at is understanding of the main financial statements, how they're connected, what's their importance to analyzing a company. We also want to see expertise in analyzing a business case for a project, understanding how NPV works, how to calculate NPV, IRR, how to present a business case in Excel, as Felix alluded, with the Excel skills, good presentation skills. I think from a finance perspective, that's what I can cover. I don't know if I missed anything else, Steph, that you can think of, or.
I think those are the main ones that we focus on.
All right, perfect. So the next question is, what is the approximate duration of the internship?
So our internship is at a minimum of 10 weeks, and our process says between 10 and 12 weeks is a normal internship. We've had some interns that go over the 12 weeks. It all depends on their timing for how many weeks do they have available during the summer. We do like to see a minimum of 10, though.
Perfect, thank you. So one request is that we go back one slide and leave up the contact information, if that's possible.
Yep, that's possible.
Yeah, and please reach out. We're very open to any of you guys. If you have any questions about General Motors, about Detroit, anything that we can help, feel free to reach out. We will be more than happy to share any feedback and help you guys through the process.
Great, thank you. So Nick, we're going to put you on the spot for just a second. The question I have is, what is the biggest thing that you took away from your internship at General Motors?
Yeah, sure. So I guess the biggest takeaway, as I mentioned in my story, was the mobility aspect. And again, your internship at GM is what you want to make out of it, right? So for me, as I mentioned before, I wanted to have an overview not only of the product we have, but also of the company itself. And I was able to do that, right? Everyone was really open. So again, I think one of the other key takeaways was the corporate culture, the people. Everyone was really open to my questions, to helping me, to teaching me what they do on a day-to-day basis, and I guess that's pretty much what you need in order for you to kind of like manage your experience as well in General Motors. So definitely a lot of opportunities here, and a lot of opportunities to explore and to learn new things. Yeah, that will be my key takeaway.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so the next question that we have is, since there are several divisions within GM, how is it decided which division we will work with?
The division that you get assigned to when you become an intern is based on the business needs and also your background. We try to match you in a role where we think we're going to maximize your talent, your skills, the things you're bringing to the table as an intern. But it honestly is mostly dependent on where the business has a need for an intern at that moment.
We try to make sure that we have slots that have a meaningful business need, so the interns can really show off their business acumen and really leave an impact in the company. That's really important when we decide where we're placing interns.
Great, thank you. So I just wanted to ask this follow-up question. It's sort of, would you be working with one group, or is it a rotational sort of program?
For the internship?
Yes, for the internship.
For the internship, you are, as an intern, you're placed in one group, but that does not mean that you don't work across the function with different groups. Most of the rotations that we have for interns, you will be working with more than your team. other teams in the operational side, and other teams within the finance organization.
Got it. Thank you. And Nick, again, to put you on the spot, would it be possible to share your contact information with the students on the line so that they can?
Yeah, sure. I mean, my GM email is Nicholas without an H .d.moreno@gm.com.
We can probably send that to you, Aaron, so you
Yeah.
can share it with the group.
Yeah.
Perfect. No worries. A quick question here is, how likely is it for interns to receive an offer at the end of the internship experience?
So during the internship, interns are assessed at the end. You do a final presentation, and your performance is reviewed with the managers and directors within the company, and that is what will determine the extension of an offer. So it's really mostly on the intern to demonstrate the abilities. If you demonstrate those abilities, you will get an internship for sure. There is no. If we bring you in for an internship, it's because we have a slot available for a full time.
Just to echo what Mike said, it's really on the intern, but there are high expectations for SEO interns. Let me just say, every SEO intern that we have brought in for the summer has received an offer. So we know that SEO gives us the best candidate. We know you guys are qualified, and we will support you throughout the whole summer to make sure that you are successful here and receive an offer and come back to join us as a full-time analyst. So help us keep that track record that we have for SEO going.
Nicholas, you're on the spot there.
Okay. We have 2 additional questions. I'm trying to be cognizant of time. So the first question is for me. So yes, you will have to fill out the partner interest survey as well as send me your resume to be considered. We will then send a group of resumes over to GM, and then GM will look at the resumes and select those students that they are interested in interviewing. Okay. And then the second question is, we're looking ahead in time. So if we receive an offer for the internship program, how much time are we given to accept?
Sorry.
Aaron, I'm going by memory here from what.
This is Miriam. Can you guys hear me?
Hi, Miriam. Yes, we can hear you.
I can answer that. So typically, this round of interns who are getting offers, we ask for a decision by October.
Okay, yes. That is plenty of time to assess properly if this is the right opportunity. So I think that that's actually very generous in terms of timelines. So you're given until October to make a decision.
Correct.
Thank you, Miriam.
Thank you, Miriam.
Stepping in.
Okay. So we have one question that says, can you summarize the overall culture of GM?
I think the best way to summarize the culture at GM is a culture of collaboration. In a company as big as GM, as an intertwined as GM, the only way you can get things done is by working together with people in other teams. Anything you'll do will always be involved will always impact some other team. I think in my mind, that's the way that best describes our culture. Felix or Stephanie, you want to add something from your experience?
I would say collaboration. I think that is key. It's a key part of our success. Working across functions. has been I think my favorite part of my career here at GM. Just getting to work with the different teams, engineering, the materials team, corporate development team. I think collaboration is key for our success. We have something called One Team, which is one of our big behaviors here at GM.
Another important thing that we also foster is being able to step up and bring up the new ideas that you have. This is also one of our key behaviors to make sure that we are always innovating and bringing up the best ideas out. And even if you're the least senior person in the room, we encourage you to bring your ideas forward.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Any last questions that we may have for the GM team? While you guys are thinking about that, we want to definitely thank the GM team for hosting this webinar this evening. It was super informational for me. I hope it was for you as well, for the students on the line. We want to thank Stephanie, Felix, Michael, and Miriam for joining us, as well as Alexandra and Shannon. Please feel free to reach out to them if you have any questions. And again, if you're interested in the opportunity, you must fill out the partner interest survey, as well as send me your resume. Okay, so I don't think we have any final questions. So again, thank you to the GM team for presenting to us. We hopefully will land you a bunch of interns this summer we'll continue the SEO streak.
Awesome. Yes, we look forward to that, Aaron, and thanks everyone for listening in and for your interest in General Motors. We are looking forward to talk to all of you and to hear from you soon.
All right. Thank you. Everyone have a good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.